to the One for the Road podcast. My name is Mr. K. Alongside me, as always, is C Squared. Tonight's topic, we thought we would discuss the latest concerning Donald Trump's moves to bolster the economy and address the affordability issues that have been dogging him lately. The first topic I'd like to discuss is his outpouring of money to defense contractors. He has a proposed $1.5 trillion defense budget, which could benefit defense contractors. As we recall, last year with the Triple B, got signed on July 4th. It's been a heyday for some contractors. This week, some notable stocks, part of the Triple B7, had some nice weeks. Had a nice week. Huntington Ingalls, sorry, Industrials. I just call them HII because that's their stock symbol. They were up over 6% on Friday. Lockheed Martin was also up about 6% on Friday, and Northrop Grumman was up 5% for the week. So happy days for the defense contractors. Even in the aerospace sector, while GE floundered a bit this week, others like HEI and CW, Curtis Wright, I believe, out of Cleveland, were up for the week.
Nice. And so there is a lot going on, while there is a fair amount to complain about for the Trump administration, economic the economic interventions is probably not one of them.
Right.
Because my personal opinion is that we are teetering, and probably not just the US. We are probably talking about the global economy is teetering on recession at best and Armageddon at worst.
Mm.
And so you look at that aspect and say that the Trump administration, i.e., Scott Bessent, is got all kinds of things going on, which generally I would not approve of because it is direct government intervention. However, due to the extenuating circumstances related to the economy, it makes him look super smart that
Right.
he's essentially going in and patching all the holes in the economy that potentially could be landmines and blow up the entire house of cards in the next couple of years. And so, from that aspect, what can you say about that? Would you rather have the economy completely tank, or are you willing to let him do what he is doing with the government intervention that allows us to continue on by patching all the holes? In particularly, his latest move was in the commercial real estate paper market. So we can talk about that a little bit, Mr. K,
Yes.
if you
Yeah,
want.
so Trump in a media post stated he's instructing the government, uh, most particularly Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, to buy 200 billion, not million. Million would
Billion,
be
that's
small
right.
these
Yeah,
days.
yeah, 200
200 billion worth of
billion.
mortgage-based securities. The goal is he's going to lower bond yields, reducing mortgage rates, and make homes affordable for the masses is the goal.
Well, so it looks to me like that was a commercial paper type scenario, and I will comment on my limited knowledge, but I think that this is pretty much on it. The commercial paper market appears to be um, adjustable rate mortgage, short term adjustable rate mortgages only, and looks like it's usually 3 years. And you have to essentially show the profitability and the worth of that property in order to secure your next 3-year arm. If interest rates go up, hopefully the value of that property has gone up because it's based on that. If not, what needs to happen is you need to make a cash payout to secure the next loan on that to make all the numbers work for the value based on the loan. And
Right.
so it looks like what is happening here, and to my understanding, 2026 and 2027 were D-Day for many 3-year adjustable
Firms.
rate commercial mortgages. So it looks like what is happening here is rather than having the commercial paper market blow up the stock market and the economy, they have decided to do direct government intervention into those markets and secure the loans for that commercial paper.
Right.
That's what it looked like to me was
Right.
happening. So you can say anything you want. The Don can say anything he wants about making houses for the plebes more affordable. I'm thinking it's making the commercial real estate market not collapse.
So I will quote the Donald directly, and you'll love this. What he's proposing will drive mortgage rates down, monthly payments down, and make the cost of owning a home more affordable.
So ironically enough, yeah, exactly, and make that and make all this commercial paper problem go away. So which is I don't know what to say. I
Right.
don't know what to say in that aspect. Would you rather do the take the moral high ground and say the government should never be doing this, which is generally, in most cases, my stance on
Right.
things? The government should never be doing this type stuff. Or would you say, would you like a economic depression where all these commercial real estate loans collapse and then all the bank and then the chain of dominoes is kicked off and all the banks collapse and you have an economic depression, which
Hopefully
ironically
that won't
enough,
happen.
in a unrelated, somewhat unrelated story, I just read, I'm not sure if this is true or not. It seems like hearsay that the Trump administration has given the banks 10 days to make the maximum credit card interest
Yes.
rate
10%.
10%.
Yep.
And the banks are freaking out.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so that is absolutely a gift to the plebes, and it's
Yes.
a gift to the lower middle class, absolutely. Now the banks don't appear to want to play ball in that space, and so I look at this from a banking sector perspective and say in 2008, 2009, they were bailed out. They all would have collapsed. The bottom line is that now the Don is bailing them out for the commercial real estate disaster, which is possibly going to collapse them. It lets all these people intervene via the Comdex in these metal markets and rig the market, and it is absolutely 100% rigged. If I thought I had enough money for a lawyer to sue all them, the proof
Right.
probably exists, and silver comes to mind.
All right.
Um,
Right. Right.
so from that perspective of things, you look at it and say, the Don is actually asking them to give a little back from all the government
Right.
intervention that has saved their businesses, and they're saying no.
Right.
That, you know what, the banks are not our friends,
Right.
and
Right. So
they're
I'll tell you some winners from a stock perspective from some of this stuff. Briefly in the real estate market, mortgage lenders, Loan Depot went up 19% this week on the new on the Don's news of this. Hey, I'm going to buy mortgage-based securities for $200 billion, and I'm going to instruct this to be done from Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae. Well, there's Rocket companies. Shares jumped 6% this week. Real estate platforms that are online based went up. Uh, OfferPad, OPAD, went up 64% this week and went up 56% on Friday alone.
Good
So
night.
it would have been
Now,
nice to got in before that.
I'm sure our friends in Congress actually
Yeah,
passed on that deal, probably
right.
knowing about it in advance.
Right. Open Door Technologies advanced 20% last week. Home builders had a good week.
Where is
Lennar.
my AI? I didn't mean to interrupt, Mr.
Oh,
K.
no, go
Where
ahead.
is my AI that essentially reads these headlines and actually makes decisions off of
Right.
headlines? And
Right. Right.
they, it is in the work, folks.
Right.
Send your donations now.
Yes. Yes. Home builders had a good week. Lennar rose by 3% for the week. Hovnarian Enterprises out of Jersey went up 23%. Nothing shady there.
Yeah,
Uh,
Jay-Z.
KB Homes rose by 10% this week, which was great news for me since I am a shareholder of that stock.
Yeah.
XLB, the index, went up 3.5% on Friday alone. Uh, Others, back to the credit card thing, what's really amazing is, guess the politicians who have endorsed the 10% cap in the past.
I actually have no idea. I'm shocked.
Quite famous. Bernie Sanders and AOC. So Trump has pushed a policy that is endorsed by Bernie Sanders and AOC. Would
And
you ever think you'd see the day?
and those actually, yes, I would think I'd see the day because those policies were never going to get passed. They sounded so good and were never going to get passed unless this is the scenario of the Don and I believe the Scott Bessents of the world and maybe even the Elon Musks of the world. I gave you a carrot first. AOC and basement Bernie, who lived in his parents' basement forever, had no ability. You had a bartender and a dude who lived in his parents' basement and never has had one shred of economic uh, credibility whatsoever,
That's for sure.
proposing something that maybe was smart. What were you going to give the banks in order for them to do this? You were magically just going to make
Right.
this happen?
Yeah.
That right,
Right.
exactly. So at least you look at the Don and Scott Besant and say these guys at least somewhat get it. I just saved your ass, and but in multiple scenarios here. Now you're going to give me something back that I want, Han.
Right.
And if not, then we're going to make things fairly miserable for you. And I hope he does. If the banks don't agree, I hope he makes things fairly miserable for them.
Right.
And
Right. Right. And if I were ever to start a rock band, it would definitely be Basement Bernie and the Bartender.
basement Bernie and the bartenders, stellar.
Solid gold album in the 70s, I believe.
Yeah, right.
Uh,
Exactly. That's a classic, Mr.
but
K. Somebody's gonna watch this podcast and take
yes,
that
yeah,
name.
somebody will
And
take
that.
that. They heard it here first. I think
Right.
Visa and MasterCard, well, I was a little worried that Visa and MasterCard might be in a little bit of trouble with this credit card cap. I was, of course, a little worried since I am a shareholder of MasterCard. But I did a little research, and as C squared is exactly right, the banks are in trouble. These guys, it might be happy days for them. They make money off of transactions. Well, if interest rates are at 10%, nuts
Right.
out there are like, 10% interest, this is nothing compared to 20 and 25. Let the spending begin.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. No, exactly. That's exactly right. And
And
helps folks
last
out.
comment I have before we move on to the next topic is, oh, what's really ironic is the banks have done well the first 2 years of as far as the U.S. sector investment wise go, and I think the banks have done good too because uh, the financial sector's done really well in the first 2 years of the Trump administration, the second term. So this might be quite the sector rotation with some of these uh, economic initiatives.
And ironically enough, you talk about sector rotation, and the professional videos that I watch are talking about the exact same thing, Mr. K. Like like you're getting a lot more wild ride potentially to the upside in the Russell 2000
Right.
than you're getting a lot more selling in the Mag 7 space, NASDAQ space, and essentially getting some healthy pushes up. Now there are pushes down too. The
Right.
Russell
Right.
is more volatile, but it looks like there are some definitely some sector rotation going on.
Yes, yes. Last topic is Venezuela. U.S. is to refine and sell 50 billion barrels of Venezuelan oil. Proceeds controlled by the U.S. to benefit the great people of Venezuela and the U.S. Some of the Trump stands lately on Venezuela. Quickly, and then C squared, you jump in. Bosses of the biggest U.S. oil firms attended a meeting with Trump. They're excited that there seems to be vast energy reserves, but they say region really at this point is not an attractive investment, but later on it might be. So you
Yeah.
jump in on your thoughts on the Venezuela situation.
Well, I completely understand that scenario, but now we're committed, and
Right,
in
right.
understanding that scenario, it is. I'm a little gun shy after a dictator came in and essentially nationalized all billions of dollars of my assets for 20 years. And essentially, I got nothing except the bill. So I understand their scenario. The bottom line is that there needs to be some level of commitment. There
Right,
obviously is. We have the kingpin hanging out in Hotel New York,
right.
and so we're committed. So I
Yeah.
hope you know. I look at this and say that some of this stuff, and I again, Mr. K, I don't fully I've looked at some of the stuff that Don has done, and I just am amazed at the craziness
Yes.
that seems to pan out in his favor.
Right.
So I don't know.
Right.
I initially look at these headlines and say, "You're insane. You
Right.
are insane." And the bottom line is somehow he makes it work out. You
Yeah.
would think, from a business perspective, just as a wrap up thought here, that you would have checked with these oil execs before you went into Venezuela
Yeah.
and started and kicked over the can to
Right.
essentially start the dominoes in motion. And can he close the deal on this with these oil execs after the fact? Let's hope so.
Yeah.
He
Let's hope
seems to
so.
be on a lucky streak. Let's
Yes.
hope so.
Yes.
And because they are critical to the plan working out. And
I'll end this with I think Donald's been his whole life has been a series of crazy decisions that have turned out well for him. The Trump Tower being one, him becoming president. I thought no
Uh,
one ever saw that day coming. So
right.
he's been pretty charmed. He's lived a charmed life, it seems. And
Yeah. I,
this
I
is the way he
how
rolls.
how I don't know, because in closing, I look at this and read these headlines and I'm like, are you nuts?
Right.
and and somehow it seems to always work out.
Yeah.
So you know what? I'm reading less headlines about the Donald and economic headlines about the Donald, and just saying, you know what? They're driving the ship, and
Yeah.
and we haven't run aground yet.
Yes.
So
Yes. Yes.
that's the scenario, is we haven't run aground yet.
Yes. So far, so good. But
So
yeah, we
far
haven't run
so good.
aground yet.
Hopefully an iceberg is not on the
Right.
horizon.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. All right, folks. You can reach us on email at onefortheroadpodcast@gmail.com. We do have a website. It's onefortheroad.net. It's the number one, the number four. You can reach us on three different audio platforms, those being Spotify, RSS, and Podbean. Like and subscribe to us on YouTube. 4C squared. This is Mr. K. Have a good week.
Thanks, folks.